Wowee. Very nice. Well, I reckon the bull bar looks a lot better in person, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, I reckon. Biggest difference, eh? Well, that's heaps nice.
Alright, first one, getting a little mud on the wheel.
Pretty cool little trail, folks. Well, g'day guys, we're going to do a bit of a run through the LandCruiser. So a lot of people are asking, is it V8, is it a 4-cylinder, manual, auto? So we'll start off with that. It's a 2024 Toyota LandCruiser 79 series single cab GXL with the 1VD FTV engine, which is the 4.5 litre V8 matched to the 5-speed manual. So in Sandy Talk, let's get into it. Alright guys, so we'll start up the front here. Start on the lights first, get straight into it so I can shut it off and you can hear me a bit better. Fog lights, as you would all know. Also, it's got daytime running lights, which you probably know as well. And when you chuck the high beam on, that's the light in the middle there. So, I haven't done much with it at night, unfortunately. But I like it, I like the look, and yeah, definitely an upgrade from the old candles in a jar that we used to have, the old halogen, so that's good. So it's just started to rain, which never get angry at the rain up here, but if you could stop for like half an hour, that'd be great. So this is the new bull bar. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. I saw pictures and what I said on a previous video, it looked a bit funny, a bit ugly. In person, it's looking a lot better, and it's got more of a matte finish on it now. Kind of goes with the flares. It looks good. I like the matte finish, I do. And you know, it's not that far different from the previous model with this big part here, this big hoop here. I believe this is a bit taller, and the previous model's bar came straight in. It didn't have this angle down with this pipe here. But overall, like when I was in the showroom and they pulled the cover off, I was pleasantly surprised. And yeah, I don't mind it at all. I reckon it's pretty good. So that's going to stay on here for now, you know. It's there to do its job and protect from animal strikes and whatnot. So that's what it's going to do. Well, look at that. It's bloody raining. So can't do much out there at the moment. So we may as well start on the interior. Over here is the automatic high beam button, as you can see there. To activate automatic high beam, switch headlights to high beam. So if we've got high beam on, automatic, so it'll do its thing. I suppose when they need to be activated, they'll activate, and then I assume when it senses a car coming, they turn off, which is pretty flash, I suppose. I don't know if I'll use it. I guess I'll try it. And also headlight leveling here. Down here you can see the idle up button. I'm glad it's still got that. And there must be a forced DPF regen if you need to do that. So this is the updated dash cluster, which I like it. You know, it's like the original 40 series, just modern, I suppose. And we've got a trip computer now, which I absolutely love. Digital speedo, which is a much welcomed addition if you ask me. I'm glad that we can track fuel now. So I've done, as you can see, 285 Ks, and it's sitting on 14.1. Not too bad, probably about right, but I'm sure it's still sorting itself out. And then we come to the updated steering wheel, which is from the Hilux, which is another really welcomed addition. I gotta say, jumping out of my SR, this steering wheel's a lot softer. So I don't know if the SR5's got a soft wheel as well. Maybe it's just the SR, I'm not sure. I did have an SR5, but I can't quite remember. As you'll see here, we've got lane departure, which is that green thing there. So if I hold the button, that disappears down in the corner there. It's only a warning. It gives you a buzzer and tells you that you're getting close to lines on the road or the edge of the road. So that's alright, you can just shut it off if you don't want it, which is what I did, but I guess it's a added safety feature, so that's good. And over here we have the new screen, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wired. I can't show you the Android Auto because I'm actually using my phone for this. I was going to use my good camera, but I can't. Long story. So I'll show you that a bit later when I can. I reckon it's got an updated clock too. So no more, because I believe they used to have you could cycle through that and there was temperature and all that sort of stuff. So it's a bit neater. Is this new? Someone tell me. I'm not sure. Also the new fascia or whatever you want to call it down here with the USB-Cs, I think. And then there's your SIG socket or 12 volt power supply, traction control down here, and then lots of blank switches for whatever, spotties and all sorts of stuff, so that's good. Bit of storage here, not much, don't know really what you would put in there to be honest. Got your one flash cup holder there, that's pretty good. So this stuff up here is new as well. Obviously you got this for the speed sign recognition, whatever, that camera up there, and this bit up here, which is obviously must be for talking on the phone, and here's your light, cabin light. This here is nothing, I don't think. It's just probably access to get into the wires and whatever for this camera. Well, we're heading back into town, ladies and gentlemen. Bit of a fucking failure of a day. Lost the drone in a tree, pissing down, so we stopped filming. So we're going back to Alice Springs, and I'm just gonna have to do a bit of a session in the shed. It's good we're getting more rain, but it would have been nice to do the whole thing out in the bush somewhere for you. It's a bit better scenery. But anyway, is what it is. So we're sitting on 110k an hour, 14.2 litres per 100 it's changed to. Seems to be sitting on that. Not too bad. See you in a minute. Next thing we'll do is we'll have a look under the bonnet here. As you know, same old V8 engine. Now, I suppose we'll start with the grille. Obviously the grille's changed, and I like it. It's that old style with the Toyota straight across the front. Now the reason I'm looking at this is because you see these plastic bits here on both sides. And up here too, in this bit up here. That's where the air comes in for the intercooler now, through these spots here. These little air tunnels, similar to what the 200 series had. So that's what we're working with now. So that's interesting. I wonder if, if it's a better setup that way, if it's better for the intercooler and whatnot. I'm not sure. Also, maybe, they've kept that bulge to probably try and keep that look, but I think it's more than that. Like, as you know, the panel used to run flat here, straight down that fold there, and now it's that much higher. So the bonnet, one of the reasons, I think the main reason they increased the scoop height in 2017 or whatever it was it was actually, yeah, it looks cool and whatever, but they actually needed more room between the top of the bonnet and the top of the engine for pedestrians. If you run into some poor bastard and they end up on the top of your bonnet, apparently, they need X amount of room between the top of the bonnet, and the top of the engine for like a crush zone. So obviously they would have had to have done the same thing here. I'm not sure how the four banger fits in regards to height, and it's got its little intercooler sitting on top, the four banger. So, but yeah, that's that'd be a reason, I reckon, why they've done this how they have, you know, to accommodate the four cylinder, how it fits in, and the need to have that crush zone in between the top of the bonnet and the top of the engine. Now, I don't know exactly. I had a 2008, like I've said before, and there was a fair bit different under the bonnet here. My old man has got a 2021 or 2 or something, and I haven't had a good look under the bonnet or anything, but I noticed like there is a lot of changes that, you know, you wouldn't really. I mean, you can't get a second battery in here. Like, look at all this stuff going on. There's a lot going on here. So, yeah, I guess that's you're definitely not getting a battery in there. So, another thing with these guards is you got to admit that it does look a bit poxy. The guard used to run flat on here. That's how it was, and I reckon that's what you're seeing here. With you still got these holes, threaded holes, that the old panel used to bolt into. So it does look a bit pus when you're looking from here. And I am wondering, you know, these mounts, it's pretty thin steel. So at first glance you think, oh shit, a couple of 100,000 kilometers of corrugations, like, are these just going to start cracking out in here and that sort of thing? You know, obviously Toyota knows what they're doing. They build pretty solid rigs, so it might not be a problem. I'm just talking here. It might be fine. There might be no problem whatsoever. I'm just thinking out aloud. But at first glance, yeah, it just looks a bit thin. But, you know, I'm sure it'll be fine. But we will see. I suppose we will tell soon enough. Another thing I was concerned with these new panels is the height of them. Might sound a bit silly, but for getting in to work on the engine, like doing servicing and stuff like that. Because obviously they're a bit higher now, so, you know, it's less access. But sort of looking at it and getting in here and leaning over, it's actually no problem at all. I mean, yes, there's a height difference. It is different, but it actually seems like it's going to be okay. This here actually swings from the top and mounts up in here now, and that's where it mounts, that little plastic clip. You know, how long is that going to last? Maybe it's fine. Another bloke actually did comment that he was wondering, you know, will it break? So I guess we just, you know, time will tell. He also reckons that these panels are a lot thinner, so I guess time will tell on that as well. Yeah. Just while I'm up the front here, another thing about this ball bar is it's going to be tricky. You can see they've got the holes here to mount their own, like, Toyota genuine light bar. And obviously this is winch access. So I don't know how you go mounting spotties here, because you've got this radar in the front. So that's going to be tricky. You could chuck a round spotty here, but I don't know where you're going to do it here. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet, because I'll definitely be chucking spotties on. I don't know if I'm going to have to stick a plate in here, or, you know, maybe I'm off with this. I don't know. This is just looking at it for 5 seconds and picking that up. So I guess we will see. As I said in a previous video, they've changed this lower part of the snorkel. I don't know if they've mucked around with any of that. I don't think they have. But this has definitely seen a design change, which I think is nice. On my 2008, this part here, where it mounts to the side, was a lot thinner, and it actually cracked after doing a bunch of heavy corrugations. It was no biggie, it never fell off, it was all good, I just left it, but, you know, it's something a little different, so that's cool. GXL badge over here. No more stickers, no more V8 or 4.5 litre stickers on the side here, so that is interesting. And we'll have a look around this other side. I can't remember if there's a LandCruiser badge or not. Oh yeah, So there's that. Same old mirrors that most people don't like. I don't mind them. It's just a mirror. It does the job. You know, it's good for the bush. The amount of trees and shit I hit out bush, like on the station, doing that kind of work, you just want practical stuff. They can be a bit loose sometimes, which isn't ideal, but you know, does the job. I did give you a look inside when we were out bush before, but here's another quick look. And the old school blinkers, eh? Just like the 75 series had. I don't mind them. Bit of a throwback. These lights are bloody good. Seem to work well. So this ended up with the genuine Toyota heavy duty steel tray in sandy taupe, obviously. Look, back when I ordered this many moons ago, I was planning on making my own tray. This was all a bit rushed in the end and I couldn't get that to happen, so here we are. But I still do want to do a tray build for this down the road. I would just really like to build a tray. It'd be good to fab one up and it'd be good for YouTube, do a bit of a build series with it. So we'll get into that one day, but you know, these trays are good. They're pretty solid and pretty bloody long too, about 2500. So, you know, it's such a good area to work with. As far as mods go, I may as well touch on that. I'm going to be very slow to mod this because, you know, a lot of people, this might be a bit controversial, but a lot of people buy these and just think you got to stretch them and chuck a coil rear end in and, oh my God, put seats in. And if you ask me, you don't need to do any of that shit. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you've got the money to do it and that's what you want to do, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. People think you got to go straight out and buy $2,000 mirrors. I'm here to tell you don't need to do that. You don't. Just drive it, just use it. I'm going to be using this pretty much stock for a while. I've got a canopy coming next week. I'm going to fit that, do a bit of a video on that. I've also got a little bash plate coming for the rear diff lock actuator. The little diff lock mechanism sits on the front of the diff, as you all would know with all the utes these days, and they're pretty susceptible to damage. I damaged 3 on my previous Hilux and I ended up getting an aftermarket guard and it protected it well. So next week it'll be a canopy and that little guard going on. Eventually I will put, you know, some good suspension under it, a 2-inch lift, some good tyres, and I've got to put a secondary filter under the bonnet, maybe a catch can. I still don't know. The confusion with those things. I mean, there's mechanics that tell you do not do it. There's mechanics that tell you to do it. So the jury's out on that. Leave a comment, tell me what you think about that. Obviously spotlights. There's a bunch I will do, but nothing crazy. Now going back to what I said before about mods, if you are one of those people that have coiled a cruiser and stretched it and done this and that, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on it. I enjoy looking at them, I get it, the engineering that goes into them is fascinating, and not hating on it, and you should do what you want with your money. But if you think that it needs to be done, like you have to do it, there's so many people that online will say, oh, you can't even drive a cruiser out of the driveway without a coil rear end. But it's full of shit. Most of these rigs you see up here that are doing hard yakka with, 800 kilos on the tray, out bush all day, rain, hail or shine, they're pretty much stock. All the station rigs that get around doing hundreds of thousands of Ks, working their ass out, they're all stock. They might have a bull bar. And, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'll go into that in more detail. Like I said, next week I'll do a video with the canopy and that rear diff actuator guard. Yeah, another thing I noticed about this bonnet is that, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just trying to remember my 2008, the bonnet didn't seem like it had much flex in it, and it was pretty rigid. This bonnet, once you've got it up, it's pretty flexible, so I don't know if that's going to be an issue. It's probably fine, it's just something I noticed. Maybe that's how they always were, I can't remember. there's a fair bit of reinforcing up under the bonnet, so I'm sure it's fine. But another thing I noticed driving is that it does dip a lot. There's a fair bit of movement, and I know that people have said that about the 300 as well. And I just remember my 08 was solid, it never did that. So, I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad, it's just something I've noticed. Just these little differences. I'm so happy to be back in the LandCruiser again. People who don't like this engine, I'm sorry, but I don't understand that. I've had two Hiluxes, 2021 SR5 Auto, and then the Hilux I just traded was a 2023 SR manual. So I've had an auto and a manual with that engine, that 1GD. Yes, 150 kilowatts, yes, 500 newton meters of torque. The auto I didn't like, I just don't like autos, I just don't. The manual I enjoyed, I liked, it was a good setup, no doubt. I'm not saying it's a slug, it was good. This here, right, I was just rudely interrupted by rain again, and on this shed roof it's so bloody loud. Today's been such a mission. I've probably moved 3 or 4 times trying to film this, but I want to get this information out there for you, so sorry if it's a bit choppy, but it is what it is. As I was saying, yeah, this motor, it's brilliant. I find it's got enough poke, like no problem at all. I don't even find myself lacking jumping out of the Hilux. In fact, it feels better. So I'm not saying that the Hilux is pretty nimble and quick, but because you get torque almost straight off idle in this, it just feels great. It's so good off-road, or like, you know, I was mucking around in the creek this morning in deep sand, just had it in high 4. I didn't let tires down or anything like that. And you know, I stopped, did a bit of filming, took some photos, and then just chucked her in first gear, high 4, just drove out, just easy, just torque straight off, you know, straight off idle. So it just tractors along so good. I overtook a truck on the way back to town, just left it in 5th, straight around, plenty of pull. Like it feels good. I haven't been in one for a couple of years, so I was interested to see. But this is a lot more refined than my 08. You know, she's still agricultural and it's a work rig and it's a commercial rig, like, make no mistake about it. But I'd rather be in one of these than a modern day ute, dual cab, medium duty ute, any day of the week. I've been there, done that. It's just my opinion. You might say I'm a dickhead, whatever, I don't care. It's just my opinion. It suits me, they're a good rig. And the engine sound. These engines sound so good. They sound brilliant. You know, there's a deep sound just to the engine. In saying that, don't get me wrong, I do understand once you load them up, maybe then it will lack in power a bit. Maybe then I'll change my tune and want to get a tune. Maybe I'll say, oh, it's doughy now, you know. So don't get me wrong, I do get that. It's this has nothing on it, it's just got the steel tray. So I do understand that. If you've loaded these up big time, or you're touring or anything like that, then you know, I do understand. My 2008, I had a 3-inch straight through exhaust with a standard snorkel with the ram head. I never chipped it, I never tuned it, and it was plenty enough for me. Like, it's a 4-wheel drive, I'm not looking for it to be a Lamborghini. I don't give a shit about winning the drags at the traffic lights, that's stupid. So yeah, these are a good vehicle. If you use them what they're built for, they're a good vehicle. Are they too expensive? I don't know. Maybe they are. Once upon a time I would have said no, they're not, because of how they're built. You know, but they're getting up there. It's pretty ridiculous. I'm not going to lie, they're friggin' expensive for sure. But you just got to look at the build quality. And you know, my brother rocked up yesterday to have a look, and I said, have a look at the chassis on this and the engineering that goes into it, and then let's look at your Hilux. And everything's half as thin. And the Lux is good. I've had 2 of them. I never broke anything. They're a good rig. People can say what they want about them as well, but they're good, they're reliable. I've had two, my brother's got one. We've never had dramas. I always had them out bush. They're a good solid car, they always have been. But if you look at the engineering and how they're built, these things are like tanks. They are like tanks, and that is why you pay, if you ask me, my opinion, that is why you pay big money for these, and you should get hundreds of thousands of kilometers out of them on shitty corrugated roads with a heap of weight in the back, that's the whole idea of them. So if you ask me, yes, they're worth the money because of that reason. I think another thing people forget about these, that people say, like, why not get a Ranger or a Hilux or a Triton or a whatever? And they're all decent use, don't get me wrong. I don't hate on any brand like some people. I don't understand that. That's childish. But anyway, each to their own. But the GCM with these is up there. So the fact that you can tow 3.5 ton with this, and you can load this up to full GVM. You can't do that with your Hilux or your Ranger or your whatever. So there's that to think about as well. And these will do that, and they'll do it no problem. So that's the thing you have to think about. Should they be a bit cheaper? I don't know, maybe they should. But I do know that you will get, if you want to buy one of these and you want to keep it, there's no reason that you shouldn't get a very long life out of it. Do the maintenance though. Do the maintenance, that's the most important thing. Do your services before 10,000 if you can. That's always better. Change your oil, change your oil filters. Like, make sure you look at everything. Keep the underneath greased. Maintain everything meticulously. Keep clean air going to it. Keep an eye on your air filters. And, you should have happy days. I'm going to leave this top hat on because it's a pre-cleaner. And I don't care about putting a ram head. I had that on my 08, and whatever, like, it's a pre-cleaner. It's going to stop half the dust getting down to the main box before it enters the engine. So, and it doesn't bother me. I'm just going to leave it there. Another thing I found driving this is there didn't seem to be as much cab noise. It seemed a bit quieter. It was just nice to drive today. It's good. It's been 2 days and I'm used to it already, because it's so different to, like, a Hilux IFS. But I've been in my dad's dual cab and it seemed so noisy, and I'll admit, on the way back to Alice Springs it was a bit noisier, I think because we were in a headwind, but it didn't seem too bad. So I don't know if it's just me or if they've changed something, I'm not sure. But anyway, look, I think that about covers it. I could probably go on and on, but I've been at this all day. There's going to be more videos to come, so leave a comment, drop some questions if you got anything I've missed. But yeah, it's been a long day trying to run around and do this, so I want to get it out there for you. So thanks very much, and sorry if it's not up to scratch.